Good evening, welcome back to In the Khud. This is October 10, 2022, 8:17 p.m. and I'm going to start this session because I'm kind of thinking of the title in the back of my mind with a few lines I read from the book Yoga, the complete book of Yoga by Swami Vivekananda. Like I underlined a few lines which were like lines that stood out and I'm going to read those. So from the beginning, the lines that I have underlined, I'm going to read them out loud as if I'm doing a narration or voiceover. Now in the chapter of Karma Yoga. Every mental and physical blow that is given to the soul, by which, as it were, fire is struck from it, and by which its own power and knowledge are discovered, is karma, this word being used in its widest sense. If you really want to judge the character of a man, look not at his great performances. Every fool may become a hero at one time or another. Watch a man do his most common actions. He alone is really the great man whose character is great always, same wherever he be. All these are simply the manifestation of the will of man, and this will is caused by character, and character is manufactured by karma. No one can get anything unless he earns it. This is an eternal law. If what we are now has been the result of our own past actions, it certainly follows that whatever we wish to be in future can be produced by our present actions, so we have to know how to act. With regard to Karma Yoga, the Gita says that it is doing work with cleverness and as a science. By knowing how to work, one can obtain the greatest results. Work for work's sake. That's the last thing I've underlined. So basically, why am I doing this? I have come to the conclusion that books always were, and at this point in my life, more than anything else, are the real friends. Yeah, when I read this book, I feel like I'm talking to a friend. A little more on this, like why my mindset at this point right now is like that. Towards the end of this video, let's just carry on with the documentation. I have to document 2 days, so the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. If I look at Saturday, woke up at 6, did my morning schedule, I did mindfulness after a very long time, the Les Mills mindfulness thing, and then I slept. I think it was raining, that's why. So 11:30 I took Snowy down, Eureka moment, last night. This was Friday night, okay. How to split face of a mesh along the normal using GeoNodes. So I was trying to figure things out. Mesh boolean to give separate materials to mesh. On Saturday, what did I do primarily? I think I was just figuring the sculpt part out. So there's not much done here. Now going to Sunday, which is yesterday. Woke up at 8. My main concern was and other than that, I don't quite remember what I did yesterday. I think it was primarily DAS work only again, like the weekend went that way, which was the thing that was planned, so I'm glad. And a little bit of sculpting here and there, making sure the Magnum ice cream is looking the way it should. I haven't come anywhere close to finishing that project though. And yesterday evening, one big thing happened is that Zach on his YouTube channel, CG Boost, announced that it's his birthday. So they're going to be running a 17% or whatever percent off. $17 or 30% off. So I bought the sculpting course. I wanted to have the sculpting course forever and I was like, okay, there's a discount, I might just take it. So now I haven't finished cubic worlds for sure. There's a lot to learn there, but I've also bought the sculpting course. Yeah, it's fun. I'm trying to get like master at sculpting, and then I just feel like somehow I want to get to a point where using geometry nodes and sculpting and all the knowledge that I've gained in Blender, I can start making click reflect videos, which are complete 3D animated videos, right? I don't have to rely on free pick and some random illustrations and then using Duik to rig things in After Effects and animating things in 2D with a lack of perspective. I want to just go in, model things inside Blender, rig them inside Blender, and use like 3D animations for character animations on click reflect. The entire scene can be made inside geometry nodes procedurally, making sure that our scene is completely optimized and it will be rendered in EV, so that's not a problem. That'll make sure that I'm reading a lot more, doing my research. Yeah, click reflect is something I want to get to as soon as possible. Other than that, I can continue doing my every week projects. Every week is definitely not happening, like maybe once in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So Magnum ice cream, Blender 3D project documentation. I still have to document whatever I learned here. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If I come to today, 10th October, I woke up at 5:30. I watched one sculpting video here where he just sculpts a basic alien kind of thing using all the brushes. I have to like follow along that. One thing I want to do really differently this time is I don't want to divide the course in 2 sections. The first section being I'm just watching videos and like not doing anything, and then I'm trying to do whatever is happening. I'm gonna try and sculpt or do the things while they are happening, so that it's not just sitting and watching videos, it's actually applying or executing something, whatever it is, just moving around in Blender is also enough. Atomic habits. If you want to start running, if you want to get in the habit of running, just start with tying your shoelace. That principle works. I used to feel like, who does that, tying shoelace? You're not even gonna run. It works. I haven't experienced it in the exact scenario of running, because I've always been very motivated to run, but I have experienced it in Blender, like just showing up on the desk and doing something inside Blender. I end up doing a lot more. I want to do that. And then in the morning, I watched one around 30-minute GeoNodes Erindale video, flight projection animation. It was very cool. I could understand, it was kind of complex, like the things that he was doing, looping animation and noise textures to build those displacements. And then the flight, while the looping is happening, the flight is going up and down and left and right based on the raycast it was hitting on the displacement noise. Pretty complex, but I could understand everything thanks to Erindale's basic GeoNodes course. Then at 12 p.m, of course, after that I slept. 12 p.m, resuming and starting with Dad's work first. So primarily today, the whole more than first half was spent in that. I made an entire video compilation of all the queries I had with Dad's work, like things are changing there, there's portal and everything happening. I don't know if this is good news or this is just the news at the time, that Dad's work is gonna increase significantly now. Like the amount of time I will have to devote has to like increase significantly. It's just like everything is happening for a reason, I guess. So yeah, that's pretty much where it is, and I might have to just leave the job because Dad's work is going to take up a lot of my time, and it's just not going to be possible to manage both the things together. So I'll keep the vlog updated on that though. I had written quite a few to-dos today. Read a few pages of yoga, couldn't do this. The same book I was referring to in the beginning. Work on the Magnum project, could not, because other than this queries things that I did, I had to work on these 2 revisions, and I ended up fighting over something. I'm gonna of course not take any names, mention anyone here, but I'm gonna give you a gist of what happened. So there was this one brand video that was supposed to be made, and nobody in the team was available, so I just said I will make it, because it was a motion graphic video. It was not a real edit, because if it was a real edit I would have just said no, I'm not taking it. Because it was a motion graphic video, I said yes to it, and I read the concept. That's what I do all the time. I first read the concept, get the concept right, and then even think about how to make the video. And the concept had a thing called, I am not gonna verbatim tell what it was, but it was connecting #boss lady, like woman empowerment kind of thing, with underrated Indian goddesses. And this is supposed to be a Diwali video. So just the fact that underrated and Indian goddesses went together in the same sentence, like a fuse went off in my mind. Like, how is this even a concept that A, has been approved by the client, and B, nobody seems to have a problem with it? So I went full blast and I'm like, look dude, and I was, the reason it sparked into a fight is because when I put that message on the group, it was very straightforward, as I'm always, and it was very blunt, I guess. So it had to spark a fight. I was like, look, this doesn't work at all. Underrated Indian goddesses has never been a thing. It's just completely, because gods and goddesses in India have been always revered, be it male or female, and that's always been a thing. So how is this concept working? Like, boss lady is fine, but using underrated Indian goddesses as a hook, like one plausible or possible explanation I can find for this is maybe it's a Gen Z brand, so Gen Z don't know about Indian goddesses. But how does it work out that Gen Z know about Indian gods and they underrate Indian goddesses? Like the explanation I was initially given on, everyone talks about Ram and Ravan, and was it that Ravan? Yeah, Ram coming back to Ayodhya, something like that. And nobody talks about Sita and Lakshmi. Like that was so dumb, to be honest. Like, and of course, if anyone else in the team was making the video, I wouldn't even care to know what the concept is. But because I was supposed to work on that video, for me, the conscience surpasses everything else. Like, if my conscience is not clear with something, I am not going to do it. Like, if they persist and they're like, no, Rajmeet, you don't know anything, this concept is going to go because it's been approved by the client, I'm just going to give the video to someone else in the team. Like, I'm not. It's because the conscience doesn't allow. Because if I take up a video, I want to make sure that I do the very best job at it. That's what brings me back like a complete circle to this particular video, as in why I was talking about this book in the beginning is because I just feel like I need to spend a lot more time reading, because this entire idea of being stuck in my mind is kind of getting to my mind now. I mean, I think I'm just coming off as a very frustrated guy who has no social life and just fighting with everyone and anyone. Although very valid reason to fight. Like, I would never ever bring up a problem, bring up an issue if it's not hurting me. But it sounds very benign, right? And I'm not doing it because I want to prove I'm better or something. It just kind of hurt me, like goddesses and underrated. I actually don't know why, but it just stuck me in my heart, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna fight. So that's what happened. And Yeah, on that very kind of sad, kind of weird note, I'm going to end today's documentation. Thank you so much for being in the code. We've hit 12 minutes or 13 minutes, not that bad. Can easily edit and go down and do my body pump class. That's the only thing that's going to make me feel better in life right now. So, thanks so much for being in the code. I'll catch you tomorrow.